Space Marine 2. Playing this feels like being the final boss in someone else's horror game. The sheer weight of each stomp, the way you plow through waves of Xenos with a chainsaw to howling, it's the most satisfying power fantasy on this list. The co-op operations mode adds a surprising amount of replayability, and the campaign knows exactly when to swap epic spectacle with quiet, grim-dark dread. $17.99 is absurd for a game this polished. You'll replay missions just to hear your Marine bellow, "For the Emperor," again. Atomic Heart. If Soviet-era biopunk and unhinged robot designs sound like your jam, this game delivers an alternate history that's equal parts gorgeous and disturbing. The combat lets you combine elemental powers with improvised weapons in ways that feel fluid and unpredictable. Some enemy encounters are so bizarre, you'll pause just to process what you're fighting. Picking this up for $14.99 feels like stealing a AAA fever dream. It's not perfect, the open world pacing wobbles a bit, but the creativity here is top shelf. Evil West. Sometimes you just need to punch a vampire so hard it explodes. Evil West understands that on a spiritual level. It's a linear, no-nonsense cowboy versus monsters brawler, where every kill feeds into the next until the screen is a mess of sparks and gore. The upgrade tree transforms you from tough guy into a living lightning storm. $9.99 is the easiest impulse buy on this list, a tight, gloriously violent 12-hour campaign that respects your time and never pretends to be anything else. A Plague Tale Requiem. The rat tech in this sequel is terrifying, thousands of individual bodies acting like a single hungry mind. But beneath the horror is a devastating story about family and sacrifice that hits harder than most prestige TV dramas. The visuals are quietly beautiful right before everything goes to hell. At $14.99, you're getting an emotional journey that stays with you. The ending sparked months of debate in my gaming circle. That's the sign of something special. A Plague Tale: Innocence. If you want to understand where Requiem's heart came from, the first game is an absolute steal at $3.99. It introduces the desperate sibling bond and the same oppressive rat-choked world just on a slightly smaller scale. You could play it over a weekend and immediately crave the sequel. For less than a coffee, you're getting a stealth narrative hybrid that launched an entire studio into the spotlight. Don't let the price fool you. This is no budget experience. Aliens: Dark Descent. This one surprised everyone. It's a real-time squad tactics game where your Marines carry persistent trauma from mission to mission. The motion tracker beep alone will ruin your nerves, and the decision to extract your squad early or push deeper for loot creates genuine tension. It channels the spirit of the films better than most shooters. $11.99 for this much atmosphere and night-biting strategy feels like an oversight. If you love XCOM and losing squad members hurts, you need this. Aliens: Fireteam Elite. It's a third-person co-op shooter that captures the Marine banter and desperate ammo-checking vibe perfectly. The class system adds some nice build variety, and the challenge missions get genuinely punishing. $5.99 means you can grab a couple copies for friends without even thinking. It won't reinvent the genre, but running a reactor room while a Praetorian rips through your defensive line scratches a very specific itch. For that price, you'll definitely get your scream's worth. Insurgency Sandstorm. No minimap, no hit markers, no forgiving health regen. This is a tactical shooter where one bullet ends a fight, and teamwork isn't optional. The audio design, bullets cracking past your head, is so intense that new players often flinch in their chairs. The learning curve is steep, but once you clear your first building as a coordinated squad, nothing else feels the same. $7.49 for an FPS this punishing and rewarding is a ridiculous value. You'll die a lot. You'll love it. Roadcraft. A more recent entry from the MudRunner team, this one adds construction logistics to the off-road simulation. You're not just hauling logs, you're rebuilding infrastructure after disasters, laying power lines, and figuring out how to get a 20-ton excavator across a collapsed bridge. The physics engine is dark magic. At $23.99, it's already delivering the meditative problem-solving that makes this series so dangerously addictive. Expect a few early bugs, but the core loop is solid gold for patient players. SnowRunner. There's no shooting, no enemies, no fail state, just you, a truck, and a completely unreasonable amount of mud. Yet it's one of the most absorbing games on Steam. Planning a route, upgrading your fleet, and finally pulling a stuck vehicle out of a swamp at 3 a.m. gives a sense of triumph few games can match. The number of maps and vehicles makes this a bottomless time sink. At $12.99, you're paying pennies per hour of satisfying frustration. My friends have over 200 hours each. That's not a typo. Expedition's a mud runner game. This shifts the formula from cargo hauling to scientific exploration. You lead a scientific team, use drones and gadgets to survey unknown terrain, and solve environmental puzzles with your vehicles. The sense of discovery when you crest a ridge and spot an ancient ruin is pure adventurer fantasy. $15.99 for a chill, thinking person's off-road game that rewards patience with incredible vistas. It's the sleeper hit of the franchise. Few people talk about it, but those who try it become obsessed. Ark Survival Ascended. Let's be honest, Ark is janky. It can chug, it has weird bugs, and the official servers can be lawless. But the experience of taming your first raptor, building a treehouse village with friends, and then defending it from a rival tribe riding wyverns is completely unmatched. This remastered version runs on Unreal Engine 5 and looks stunning when the chaos pauses long enough to appreciate it. $11.24 for potentially thousands of hours of dinosaur insanity. You'll yell at the screen. You'll also text your friends at 2 a.m. begging for backup. No Man's Sky. Remember the launch? Forget it. This is now a sci-fi life simulator where you can manage a fleet, build underwater cities, tame alien pets, and stumble into player-built civilizations without a single loading screen. The developers have released over 20 massive free updates, and the community keeps discovering wild secrets. At $23.99, the hours per dollar ratio breaks math. I've got a friend who spent 400 hours just cataloging weird creatures. That kind of value doesn't come around often. Red Dead Redemption 2. This isn't a game you finish. It's a world you keep returning to years later just to exist in. Hunting trips that turn into unexpected gunfights. Strangers with secrets that unfold over hours. The way your horse behaves like a companion instead of a vehicle. At $14.99, it's the sort of price that makes you double-check you're reading it right. I still stumble into things I missed on my 4th playthrough. If you've never walked into camp and just listened to the conversations, you haven't really played it yet. Silent Hill F. This one doesn't just scare you, it crawls under your skin and stays there. Set in 1960s Japan, it trades the franchise's usual American fog for something quieter, stranger, and deeply wrong. The writing makes you question what's real, and some of the imagery hasn't left my head since launch. Dropping to $34.99 while still relatively fresh is the kind of discount that rewards patient horror fans. If passive-illogical dread that lingers long after you close the game sounds like your thing, this is it. Borderlands 4. Guns with legs. Guns that insult your aim. Guns that fire saw blades into tornadoes. The loot loop here is genuinely unhinged in the best way. Solo or with friends, the obsession becomes chasing that one ridiculous weapon that completely breaks how you play. For $24.99, you're getting a mayhem sandbox where the story takes wild swings, and the build variety could swallow a month of your life. If you've ever wanted to throw a grenade that spawns more grenades that also catch on fire, welcome home. Silent Hill 2. The remake proves that true horror ages like a blade. The town feels diseased, and James's journey is still one of the most emotionally punishing stories in gaming. The sound design alone, footsteps on wet concrete, a radio crackling with static, creates tension without cheap jump scares. $27.99 for a horror experience this dense and visually stunning is the kind of deal that turns curious players into lifelong fans of the genre. This one changes how you process guilt in a video game. Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced. People forget that GTA Online alone has evolved into a ridiculous collection of heists, businesses, races, and player-run chaos over the last decade. The story mode still holds up, but the real value here is losing entire weekends with friends running a criminal empire. At $14.99 for the enhanced version, you're paying less than a pizza delivery for a game that's still getting massive content updates. If you somehow skipped this generation's defining open-world playground, now's the time. NBA 2K26. At $9.79, 86% off, this is a ridiculous value for basketball fans. Yes, the My Career mode leans heavy on microtransactions if you want to fast-track your player, but the franchise mode, quick play, and online leagues with friends offer hundreds of hours without spending another dime. The on-court gameplay is the most fluid it's been in years. If you're the type to spend evenings tweaking rosters and running a dynasty, this price is practically a gift. Far Cry New Dawn. The neon-soaked post-apocalyptic follow-up to Far Cry 5 gets a lot of grief through its light RPG mechanics, but it secretly has some of the best outpost takeovers in the franchise. The expedition system lets you fly to entirely separate, highly detailed maps just to steal loot and extract while under heavy fire. The progression loop of upgrading your home base is extremely satisfying. At $8, skipping the full price debate and treating this as a massive, colorful expansion pack is easily the smartest way to play.